right? Because
we should have spoken 2 years ago before I made all of these mistakes. Maybe I should share like the opposite story on our end.
Yeah.
And we're live. All right, guys, welcome to Nisnas Industries one more time. We're here in the Whiskey Barn Museum for the second time, and we're super, super lucky to be hosted here. It's an amazing, amazing space. If you ever make it to Tel Aviv, by all means, please come here. We love it. Also, it's a living place, so you'll be hearing people come in and out. It's part of the experience. So expect that during our entire chat. So we're joined here with a friend, Elad Burko, a serial entrepreneur, the owner and founder of Paperwallet. They make amazing wallets made out of a material called pave, which Elad will talk a little bit more about. And he has 3 major Kickstarters under his belt. One smaller one from a few years ago, and we got to know each other from a recent campaign that made over $300,000, and it's really a stunning campaign that we'll talk more about. This is an opportunity maybe to talk a little bit about your experience with Kickstarter, and specifically in the last campaign. Maybe you could share a little bit about that before we move forward.
I mean, Kickstarter is an experience. The last campaign is just our most recent experience and learning curve, learning experience from the platform for how we work, from products, from the platform and the backers, the community that we've built. But ever since from the very beginning, Kickstarter is this platform that gives you the ability to test the product, to create something, and then test it out with the world, with whoever is on Kickstarter, and then see who bites, and continue that communication with that community that you built, to hear them out, hear what your product is all about, what they like about it, what they don't, adapt your product for the next one. And it's just, I look at it as a great place to not only launch, but learn about your product and learn about your customer.
Yeah, in particular, your last project for us was really great to see, because you started out, I mean, it's important for us to be as transparent as possible when we talk about all the projects that we do and the products that we do. There was a bit of a struggle in the beginning, and then you kind of found your footing and then flew all the way up.
Definitely.
And it was really great to see.
Definitely.
So if you could just talk a little bit about that, and then we'll kind of dive into what we want to talk about today.
Sure. I mean, I think that in general, it's not just the last campaign, but every campaign that we've done. I also advise other entrepreneurs on campaigns, on their campaigns. And in general, when you start a new project, same as we've done in our last project, you're unaware of what will work, of what images will work, of how you should speak of your product, of who's going to actually bite, what kind of fish are you catching, what kind of customer is attracted by this specific product. Because even though it's the same brand, Paperwallet, we come out, we have, today over 8 different products, and every product is a little bit different. We have a wallet for women, which is the clutch. We have the last campaign was the micro wallet, which was for men mostly, but it was also for a specific type of person. It was for the minimalist, for the guy who doesn't like to have all that bulk in his pocket. So we really, in the beginning of this campaign and most campaigns that we've done, there's this experimental mode where you're just, putting stuff out there, seeing how
this
the
is
audience
your first few days.
Yeah, the first few days. The first few days. You're experimenting. You're putting it out there. You're seeing how the Kickstarter audience and your past backers are interacting with the campaign, and you're changing things up and you're A/B testing things until you see, where you're always trying to improve the performance of the campaign.
Because maybe it's because we've become a little bit stiff. So we are about 15 to 17 campaigns in over the past seven years. Is that right, Max? Seven years? Maybe it's because we've become a little bit used to the system. We're used to a big bang in the beginning. Make sure that you make a giant splash. So usually we make, we try to get about half of our revenue, half of our backers in on the first day. And then go for it. What you did was the opposite. You had a slow start.
I wouldn't say we had a slow start. We had, because we're all about our backers, and we've had the past campaigns to grow on top of.
Yeah.
And we definitely had a spike, and we had that boost in the beginning. In the first, I would say, 3-4 days, we had a huge boost.
Were you like happy with it?
We're very happy with it. And then it tapers off because the people who know you, who know that you provide a good product, who are happy with their past products,
Yeah.
who know that you're going to be there for them when something, customer service, whatever they end up needing, if you're there for them,
Yeah.
they're going to come back to you. And
Right.
those people consistently come back to us. We have loyal customers because the people who've used Paperwallet before any one of our products will come back to us because they like the product.
Yeah.
The new people is who we're kind of testing. That testing phase has to do with kind of the new people. So we
Okay, so
have
that's
that.
an important distinction, right?
Yeah.
So you say, so Kickstarter is a platform that engages early adapters. So you've had these early adapters that you've engaged before in your previous two projects, or through your newsletters or through your database, and they're yours.
Yeah.
So what you're saying about the testing is about bringing new people on to the framework that you've already built. Is that right?
Exactly, because these people don't know your brand and they don't know if your products are good or not, and you have to basically get them with the right images and the right messaging and
Yeah.
understand who you're even targeting. Because if with the micro wallet, a good example of this would be our last campaign for the Magic Coin Pouch, a really cool product. And what it was is it gave people a way to handle coins better, a really unique product. And an innovation in handling coins. One of the things that we learned really fast was that it wasn't the product that we were speaking about the product in the right way. We were showing the right images that was hitting. But what we saw was that Europe and Asia and those countries were really, all about it, and the conversion there was great, and those customers were eating it up. While other places like the U.S.
The U.S. was trailing behind the rest of the world.
It was, very much so. And that's, as you probably know, the opposite of what usually happens on Kickstarter.
Yeah, absolutely.
So,
I mean, it's important to note, like for everyone who's interested in starting a project, Kickstarter is very much U.S. centered. So if you're doing well in the U.S., that's really where you want to be as far as the engagement of Kickstarter. So maybe that's not a change that's happened over the past year or two, maybe. That the world is really waking up to this. So if we're talking about England, if we're talking about Canada, there's a big awakening in Japan and the Far East as well, even though they have their own platforms now. But that's a different topic that we can get into, because there are Kickstarter-like platforms now popping up in Japan and China, in South Korea and elsewhere. But these markets are all of a sudden waking up. So sorry, keep going.
Yeah, so what I, just to get back to it, what I was saying is, the fact that we saw the opposite was happening. The U.S. was not performing as well, converting as well as Europe. We started to look, okay, but they're converting, so we know that the copy is right, we know that the image is right, the story that we're telling is right, the customer is right, because it was more or less the same type of customer that we were targeting in two places, but specifically in the U.S. they weren't biting. And we started to really research and understand and try to get down to the bottom of it. And what it has to do with is coins in these countries were what was different, and the way the people, a U.S. citizen or someone who lives in the U.S. who uses coins in the U.S. has less value to the coins, because the coins themselves have less value. You're usually, the highest value you're using is a quarter. What are you going to buy with a quarter? A pack of gum? You probably can't even buy that today in the U.S. with a pack of gum. Whereas in Europe and in Asia, they had, for example, Europe has the €2 coin. €2 is valuable. You can go and buy a beer for €2 in Europe. So all of a sudden, it was because of the way that people valued coins. That's also how they valued our product.
This is what you found out in the beginning of the campaign?
Yeah, pretty much in the beginning of the campaign. In the first week or so.
That's huge.
Yeah, huge.
So Kickstarter basically served as a testing platform for you to figure out that people have a different value for coins in different countries, and help you do targeting.
Yeah, I mean, we knew that, but we didn't really think about it as a real, we didn't know how much it would affect sales and where we should be. Yeah,
you didn't have to think about it.
Exactly.
I mean, it was an obvious point, but it wasn't like, all right, how do we approach our market?
Yeah.
No way.
Yeah.
That's really interesting. Huh. All right. Well, I mean, that's a little bit off topic from what we wanted to discuss.
Yeah.
But a super, super interesting point. Mm-hmm. So if this were a lesson to take forward, it would be kind of like, okay, so how do we take 3 steps back, allow the first week to be kind of like a testing table for what we want to do, and allow this time to not completely go back to the drawing board, but to figure out what we can do better in order to learn from our markets.
Exactly. At the end of the day, I think that the goal is to increase your performance. And anything that you can do to increase your performance, when you're live, that's when you can learn the most. That's when you can actually test really quickly. You can do A/B tests, you can learn, you can speak to backers. Once somebody backs you, write them an email. Get on the phone with them. Do what you got to do to understand.
Did you actually pick up the phone to people?
I pick up the phone to people after, when the campaign is over. Usually in the beginning, while in the stress of a campaign and with everything going on, I don't have the time to pick up the phone, but I do pick up the phone to certain backers that I see I might be able to learn something from them. Sometimes it's like the really angry backer that's pissed off at you and
we should have a whole session about that backer.
Yeah.
That should be something we discuss next time.
In general, as much as nobody likes an angry backer,
Yeah.
I think that backer is going to share some really vital information with me.
Absolutely.
And I pick up the phone. I pick up the phone and I speak to them because I want to learn from them. Because I want to make sure, the most important thing to me, besides the quality of my product, is the happiness of my customer. And I want to make sure that the quality of my product is at the peak of where it can be.
Absolutely.
And the happiness of my customer, their content, is second to none.
So why don't we do this? So let's dive into what we wanted to discuss, and then why don't we, when we talk about communication, let's dive into the grumpy customer as well, the grumpy backer, and maybe use that as a way to be able to get into communication as well.
Yeah.
All right. So before we start all of that, before we start our next session, let's just take a drink. Yeah.
Yeah. Cheers.
Yeah.
I've been drinking while you were talking.
All right. All right. So, first session we want to get into is how do we talk about bringing people on board in order to do your marketing via Kickstarter. So while you were saying that you do have to do a lot of testing in the beginning, there is a framework and there are players in place that do this. So there are a few of them. So sorry for picking up my phone. But here's a list of, I think these are 7 of the leading players in the field that will do decent work on Kickstarter, that do Facebook marketing and marketing in general. So why don't we just kind of like walk through a few of them. Some of them Max and I have better experience with over the past 7 years, and some of them Elad knows very well. So why don't we start right off the top, and let's start with Jalop. So you've worked with them in 2 campaigns, I think, right?
Yeah, we worked with them. Jalop is great.
Talk about your experience.
I mean, at the end of the day, straight arrows. You know what you're getting with them. They know their stuff. They're technology people, so they have these, they've built these back-end applications that you're able to really see what they're doing, what's converting. Everything is given to you in a really beautiful analytical way.
Right, so they have a dashboard.
Yeah,
they literally have a dashboard that you can hop in on, and you can see how you're doing day to day, minute to minute. So what your conversion rates are, how you're performing compared to yesterday, and so on and so on. So you can measure your performance as you go and measure your spend as well.
And I think that that's one of the things that puts them in a different playing field than all of the other guys that I spoke to, because that dashboard is unique to Jalop. I think they invested a lot in it, because they understand when it's your campaign, you want to be on the pulse all the time, and they're able to give you that. Besides that, they're good at what they do. They know how to market products. They know how to pick the right product, the right campaigns, the right products. And they have really good communication, which is extremely important when sometimes things don't work well and there's an error in Facebook, or there's an error with Kickstarter, or there's something that happens with their dashboard. They're very responsive and they're very good and they're professional, and I really have only good things to say about them.
I totally agree.
Yeah.
I totally agree. We've had a relationship with them going back 5 or 6 years now, and they've been nothing but fantastic all the way through. We really should talk about the numbers though. So when someone is looking to get into a campaign, you should set your funds aside, knowing that this is true of Jalop and everyone else. They will take quite a bit of percentage from the work that you do. So Jalop specifically, I think it changes from contract to contract, but around 22% of the revenue that they bring in and that is not including Facebook ads. So you should think of this as around 33, is that right, Max? Did you say about 33%? All together, Facebook ads and the fee, 22 plus something, is that right? 22. Does that sound right to you?
To tell you the truth, I've signed so many of these agreements with different marketing companies that I am lost as to who, what. I need to look in.
Yeah, well, I just checked before we started, so
Okay.
it is 22. But it does vary from company to company, and we'll
Yeah.
talk about these numbers as we walk through all of these.
Yeah.
So just set your marketing budget aside for this. So know that whoever it is that you choose, one way or another, around 33%, more or less, and these small numbers matter, but you will need to set that aside. I think Jalop do a fantastic job. I don't really have any bad word to say, except for the fact that they are slightly more expensive than other providers.
Yeah.
But I really do think that comes with doing a better job. I think they have a bigger database than other marketers, which really the proof is in the pudding. I mean, they if you have a bigger database, you are able to reach more backers, and they do. So they do a good job. All right. Again, going back to the list, have you worked with Green Inbox?
I have.
You have?
Yeah.
What was your impression?
We jumped on with Green Inbox for a short period of time during our last campaign up until the end. It was good. It was a good experience, also good communication. They performed well. To my recollection, there was really nothing in particular that I can say that is negative. Everything was positive with them.
Yeah.
I even recently, actually just yesterday, recommended Green Inbox to a fellow crowdfunding creator who was looking for someone to work with, and I recommended Iran from Green Inbox because they did a good job with us.
Yeah, Iran's great.
Yeah.
They have two services. They have an email service, and they have also an ad service. Did you work with both of them, or just with the ad service?
We worked with the ad service. I think he did put us in the email towards the end of our campaign, but we didn't work with him on the email service. It was just kind of he was getting his percentage based on the ads, and he worked that in with the emails as well. So
yeah, I mean, it's strange that you keep having these conversations with a lot of people, and if someone is good, they're good.
Yeah,
agreed. I think they will take. They're different from Jalop in that they take 30% off the top, as opposed to taking a certain percentage and then adding the Facebook ads to it. Green Inbox, I think they changed this, but as of last year, they took 30% off the top. In other words, they take 30% from whatever it is that they bring, which is fantastic. And it's easier to work with.
Yeah.
In other words, there is no variable according to how they do. It's just a straight 30% fee, and it's very, very useful. It was useful for us. Funded today.
Funded today. We worked with during our first campaign. They did a good job. This was before.
Do you remember their percentages by chance? What their fee is?
This is years ago. Definitely not. If I don't remember Jalop's, then I definitely don't remember theirs. But I do remember that they were very aggressive in wanting to take a piece of the whole pie.
Yeah.
Which was something that, when you give somebody a piece of the whole pie of a crowdfunding campaign, how are you supposed to make money?
Right.
It's hard, and I think that was one of the things that kind of put me off in the very beginning. But then they warmed up, and we negotiated, and we got to some sort of agreement where we saw that we can make money, they can make money, and we were both happy with the agreement we came to.
Yeah.
I don't remember the numbers, but at the end of the day, they did a good job. They brought us a lot of traffic. We had a really successful campaign with them. And since then we haven't worked with them because we've tested the waters with other companies. We've really grown into this into the field of crowdfunding, and we like to learn. And the best way to learn is by trying more people. It's very good to listen to word of mouth and who your friends have tried and who's good and who's bad. So we've always kind of dibbled and dabbled and tried new people. And since then we haven't worked with them on our last campaigns. That's it.
I want to. I agree with a lot of that, and they are very aggressive.
Yeah.
We've had the experience that we've had with Funded Today has been, and this is again going back 7 years. They have been very aggressive in pursuing us. So once you start a campaign, I usually get 3 emails from them and 2 Skype calls from them, saying that we want to join you and so, which is fine, because I think that when you start a campaign, you should be ready for a barrage of emails. I think you probably get them more than we do, because your campaigns tend to be a little bit bigger. So you will get a barrage, and from them you get that as well. But they were, I think, our experience, we've worked with them once, and this is in 2016, and the experience wasn't very good. So we worked with them, and they didn't do a very good job. And it was very, very difficult to get out of their contract, and it was very difficult to move on from that afterwards. But from my experience, at least from our experience, they've changed the way that they work a little bit since then. So they had a very, very rigid contract, and today they will work, their contract, this is going back to 2016, they had a contract where they take 33% off the top, which is, for us, was a no-go. There's absolutely no way. If you take 33% of our profit, we no longer have a project, and that's what they wanted. And to us, it seemed predatory. It was like, okay, here we are in the middle of the campaign. The campaign started off well, and then it tanked. You want to take 33% off from whatever it is you're going to bring from here on in. That will be the end of our project. So it seemed predatory to us, and it didn't work out. And to me, it seemed like they listened. They now have also a system where they work with, in a similar way to Jellup as well. So they'll have that, and they'll also have, it's around 22% or a little bit less, and then you pay for Facebook ads and you move on. So it seems like they learned their lesson a little bit, which is great. And we've had several friends who've worked with them this year. Right, Max? Nimrod's project. The travel, I don't know if he did the spinner, but he did. We have a friend who did our friend Nimrod did very well with them recently. Which is, he had a campaign that was around $10,000, and they took them all the way up to $80,000, which is great.
Amazing.
So it's great. All right. So I think we're 3 in. Let's see who we have next. BackerKit. You use BackerKit, right, for fulfillment, right?
Yeah, definitely.
Have you used BackerKit for their ads as well?
Yeah, I have.
Yeah.
And great. I mean, I think that BackerKit, one of the things that you said before, being that Jellup has such a large database. Think about what kind of database BackerKit has, not from doing marketing, but just from all the campaigns that they help fulfill and do the surveys from. So we don't know who really has the biggest database. It could be that BackerKit has a bigger database, but I have to say that it matters less in this case. I think that BackerKit, just from the standpoint of coming from the realm of surveys and entering that world of doing marketing, they did a phenomenal job with us. In the end, we didn't stay with them to the end because we were working with both Jellup and with them. And Jellup, we kind of already started with Jellup from the beginning, and we wanted to finish with Jellup. And Jellup didn't want to have didn't want to finish the campaign with somebody else. So we kind of
That's fair enough.
we had to stop with them and continue with them. But BackerKit is somebody that I'm definitely going to be working with in the future, and I want to give them a chance to do that final stretch for a campaign, to see what they can do, because they did amazingly for a campaign for us.
Super cool.
Yeah.
I totally agree.
Yeah.
Totally agree. Nothing but really great work. And I don't know who does their tech work, but they are phenomenal. So if for people who don't know, BackerKit do fulfillment, and they do, and not fulfillment, I'm sorry, they do the survey work, and then they have their own customizable survey that you can send out to your backers. Super, 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 super useful. And they started with that, and then they moved into doing campaign marketing. So they do both of those, and they're phenomenal. They're really good, good communicators. But just to keep in mind that they are in California, So if you happen to be somewhere else in the world, like we are, specifically in Israel, makes communication a little bit harder.
Late nights.
Late nights.
Yeah.
Yeah, but super, super useful, super nice, and pretty effective. All right? Cool. All right, my guess is you haven't worked with the following. Let me know if you have. CrowdReach, or maybe you have.
CrowdReach, we worked with them doing a test. I really liked CrowdReach, even though we worked with them for probably less than a week. And the reason I like CrowdReach, I forgot the name of the guy. You know,
Will.
Will.
Yeah,
So professional. So professional.
absolutely.
And I think that one of the things that struck me about CrowdReach, again, they made us no money, but the impression he left with me was great, and I hope to work with him in the future, and this is the reason. When our campaign wasn't doing so well, we were testing out content that I guess we weren't there yet, right? We were still in that testing period.
Yeah.
And we gave Will wanted to work with us. He liked the campaign. He saw the potential. He said, okay, send it to me. All I need is $100 to test it out.
Yeah.
Or no, it was like $1,000, whatever he needed to do the test.
Yeah.
And we just gave it to him because we wanted to, we heard good things. Gave it to him. Literally after, I think, a couple of days and only $100 spent, he came to us in the nicest way possible and said, listen, I don't think I'm the right guy for you guys.
No way.
I don't think I'm right for you guys. I only spent $100. I don't want to waste any more of your money. I really think it's a good campaign.
Did he really? Did he do that?
Yeah, I think you should go to X, Y, and Z and try doing these things. And the tips that he gave us were some of the tips that we used in order to get to our project to where it needed to be. And that's what you're looking for in a partner, someone who's not just in it for the dollars and cents, someone who actually cares about you, your product, your success, not just them. And that's why I really liked Will and how he handled the situation.
It's Will from CrowdReach?
Yeah, definitely.
Sir, it's Will from CrowdReach. Yeah. It's strange. Like we just started talking just before we started filming, and we share a lot of similar experiences, because I think that Kickstarter, and especially when you start getting into this world, it becomes fairly narrow in the amount of experiences you can have. And I have to share completely, like Will has been amazing for us as well. We used him for much more intensive testing than what you're describing. We did testing in our last campaign for 3 weeks. We reached a campaign conclusion that certain things were not working, and they ended up still not working, but we kept using him as an engine to test more and more and more copy, and he was tremendous. And while we're on the issue of CrowdReach, they're starting to do much more experimentation with Indiegogo as opposed to Kickstarter, because they're seeing a real shift. This is, we spoke, I think it was a month ago. They're seeing a real shift in Kickstarter from doing tech projects to doing more games and more crafts. So since they've been very, very tech heavy, they're considering moving more towards Indiegogo and doing all of their tech stuff on Indiegogo and their craft stuff on Kickstarter, following Kickstarter's lead. All right, so Avensis Partners were formerly Command Partners, I think, and they changed their name this year or last year, I think. And again, they have a very, very big database and very, very useful. They've done 1 million campaigns, and they're very, very good. And we haven't had very good success with them in the projects that we've had, but I'm not sure that's because of them. So their customer service has been okay. Not as good as Jellop, and certainly not as good as Will or CrowdReach, just basically because I think they're bigger. So we spoke with someone there, and they said that they won't be able to help us, and the manager isn't there, and so on and so on and so on. So it's kind of like standard.
They're in the UK,
I think they're in the US.
In the US?
I think.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure. And as far as bringing in revenue, they did okay, considering that the project that we had was fairly flat. This is a recent project that we had that made $100,000. It was pretty decent, but it was hard to get a return on investment no matter what we did. So they did okay. Customer service was a little bit difficult. Communication wasn't amazing, but they did an okay job. So I would say that they did all right. There are 2 new players that came in this year. One is called Bragg, which I don't think you've worked with.
No.
They're brand new for 2018 or 2017. A couple of guys that did a couple of campaigns. And from what we've seen, they've done a stellar job on a few things, but didn't. In our personal experience, we didn't see any gains. But that doesn't mean that they're not good.
Yeah.
So they're brand new. It looks like they have a very, very good tech setup, very, very similar to Jellup, but except for 1 or 2 campaigns, they're still untested. So if you want to test them, go for it. Super, super nice. Based in Hong Kong, and I think there's a partner in Hong Kong and a partner in the UK. So consider that when you're talking with them, but still pretty much untested except for 1 or 2 major projects. I think the last one that we have is Backer Camp. Did you try working with them in Spain?
Yeah.
How did they go?
Good. I've been to Barcelona. I've met B and Jonathan. Good people.
Oh, you have? You've actually met them?
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
And we're good friends now. I mean, we've worked together for quite some time. I think that they are, really straight, honest people that love what they do, and they'll take on projects and test it and be very, straightforward with you. And they're hardworking. They live and breathe what they do.
No way.
And they did us we're still working with them, and they're doing a great job. So
that's great.
I'm definitely planning on working with them again.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's great. Well, we don't have enough experience to be able to say, so I don't know.
Yeah.
But that's a great word. All right. Well, why don't we move into communication?
Yeah.
Yeah?
Sure.
All right. Just communication. Communication. All right. You want to start with a grumpy backer?
Yeah. I'm always the truth is, listen. It's like, feedback in general. There are people who are angry, and we all live in this world where, we're currently talking about us being on the other side. But the truth is, we're customers too, and we all buy product, and we know how it is when something breaks or someone cut you in line or something goes wrong, and it's not a pleasant experience.
Right.
And you always want to give your customers the best experience, and we work really hard in that. And I think that one of the things we do is, because I know what it's like to be a customer, I also want to make sure that all my customers are super happy, because I know what it feels like to get that good support, to work with a company or to buy a product that this thing's going to be amazing. It's going to last me a long time. It does its job better than anything else on the market. I'm willing to pay a premium for that. And that's where I fall with Paperwallet. I always make sure to give people that extra bit of quality, if it's from the product's quality side or if it's from the customer support side.
Right.
And
so let's say
when you have that angry backer, I look at him and
do you pick up the phone and
I
you're
thank
like,
him.
hey, no way.
Yeah, like I literally am. Even though it hurts, right? Sometimes when you work on something, it's your baby. Paperwallet is my brand, all the products underneath it. We work with a lot of artists. We work with our production partners, and we're all about trying to make this thing as perfect and amazing as possible. Mm-hmm. And then somebody comes and insults your baby, so it hurts. It hurts to a point.
Did you ever get into a fight with?
No, never.
Like in comments, did you ever this is not true? Did you ever do that?
No. Never. As much as sometimes you want to. As much.
I have several times. So unquestionably a mistake.
Yeah.
But absolutely.
Yeah. So I look at them as even though they're my baby, my customer is the person who's breastfeeding my baby, right? My baby needs milk. They're giving it the milk that it needs so it can grow and turn into a healthy adult. Yeah. We're still a baby, and I want to make sure that all of my customers, understand that they're important to us, mm-hmm. and I'll try to take care of them and assist them with any issues they have.
So let's take an example. I'm sure you've had many of these. People say something in the comment section.
Yeah.
How do you deal with it?
I try to understand them from their perspective, and I try to explain what we're doing, sometimes it doesn't matter, right? Because when a business explains to a customer, hey, we were late in shipping your goods because we're backed up with production and we're selling too many. That's the problem we're having right now. We're selling these things too fast that we can't produce it fast enough, and people are ordering it, and other people who haven't received it yet are complaining that they haven't received it, but we shipped it to them and it got lost in the mail.
Right.
Now, how do you explain that to somebody? They don't care, right? They don't care. They just want their product that they pay for. And I understand that, because when I buy product, I also want my product that I paid for, and I want it today. So I understand them, and I just do my best to explain to them in the best and calmest way possible the situation. And when we can, we even go above and beyond to try to make sure that they're happy, because, like I said, they're the ones that, make this all possible.
Yeah. So would you say be super explanatory, dispassionate, be like, this is my baby, but you gotta get off your.
Yeah, you can't be emotional. You need to just be, you need to explain to another human being who believed in your product, your project, why he's experiencing whatever issue he's experiencing, and try to change it, right? Because
we should have spoken 2 years ago before I made all of these mistakes. Maybe I should share the opposite story on our end.
Yeah, sure.
So we had this is going back again to 2016, and we introduced a flask called a coal flask, and it had issues like every Kickstarter project might have in the beginning. And we dealt with them one by one through the comments, and it got heated, and rightfully so. The product had a lot of problems, and we need to own up to them. And then we went back and we fixed them all, and the product today is an amazing product. We love it, our customers love it, and it's amazing. But Kickstarter served as a way to be able to kind of all right, all our customers got them. This is the feedback that they have, and it is harsh, rightfully so. And because of that harsh feedback, we fixed it. But I made the mistake of being of talking back to people, as opposed to being you're 100% right. And I guess, first of all, I need to own up to that, because I was that's not the right way to do it. You should be able to kind of be all right, this is what it is, this is what we're going to do, this is when we're going to fix it. But the question is there ever, do you think there's ever a time to say, yes, I believe in this, and you are wrong, or is the customer or backer?
I think that at the end of the day, where the market itself is all about protecting the consumer, and I think that it should be about protecting the consumer, because my business is still a small business, and I hope we'll never get to become so big that we're evil and only money hungry. But at the end of the day, businesses at the end of the day are built to be money hungry businesses that care only about money, and their customer too, but there are the good ones, and I think of myself as the good one. So I think that I'm off topic. Tell me what I should be responding to. It's this whiskey.
It's the whiskey. We started with how to deal with the grumpy backer.
No, but just the last question.
We were just comparing ways of handling tough comments.
Yeah. So I think that in general, you just need to be calm. You need to just reply to them and not let the emotions
I totally agree.
take over. And I think that in general, what I was going to say about the market is the customer should always be right, because we're a business and we're profiting from this thing.
Yeah.
And if you're a smart business, and I think that the big businesses in the world are the ones that aren't just money hungry, but the ones that do provide a service or a product that they want it to be top-notch quality. Their goal is to make the customer happy, so the customer can tell their friends, so you have word of mouth, so he can come back, so you have loyalty. And that's something that I build, and I try to. I think that one of the things is when you have somebody who is angry, it could be a really good thing, because already they're emotional.
Sorry, it could be a what?
When somebody's angry, when somebody's...
Could be a good thing, you say?
Yeah, it could be a good thing. Why? Because they already have a very strong emotion to your brand. And when somebody has a strong emotion to your brand, it's more likely, I don't know about it's easy, but it's more likely that you can switch that emotion to become, instead of just becoming blah about your brand, to become, a lover of your brand, the opposite of
Very
that
cool.
hate. And
Cool.
that's something that I've seen in the past. One of our backers, he gave a really honest review about the product, what he liked, what he didn't like, everything. And I replied to the comment, and then I also sent him a personal email thanking him for the really honest review and asking him to send me more pictures of the specific issues that he saw that we didn't receive from anyone else. He was just, I guess, like a pedantic guy who was looking at things that most people didn't realize. I was still interested to see what he said, and his reply to me was like, wow, I can't believe you messaged
cool.
me. I can't believe you care. I can't believe you want to see pictures of the things that I'm saying. Thank you so much. And
Because
I
you
think
went
that-
like the next step.
Yeah.
I totally agree.
Because
Like,
we care. We want to see
Yeah.
what is this guy talking about? We've
Right.
never experienced these things.
So we've done this. There are a couple of layers to this. So we did this. We had. This is again going back to 2016 when we had a challenging product. So we did everything. We were like, okay, we understand. We took a step back. We redesigned the product. We made it, and then to customers like that, they ended up getting 3 times as much of the new product that we made, and it was a real conversion. It was like, great, thank you so much. We appreciate this so much. It was great. It was really great. Going forward to 2017, 2018, we took like systems like that and made them part of the way that we do work. So this is going with this product that we launched in 2017, was it? This? Last year, right? 2017? Really? 2016? I don't know. Maybe either 2016 or 2017. The Oak Honey Whiskey Tumbler. We decided to use our community, our backers, as our testers for the product. So we kind of like, we wrote in the comments, who wants to test our product? And everyone was like, I'll drink whiskey, I'll drink whiskey, I'll drink whiskey, I'll drink whiskey. So we had like 10 different people from all over the world to give us real feedback, some of it amazing and some of it very difficult. And we used that in order to be able to create a real community around the product, even though some of the comments were like, you know, some of them were amazing, some of them were really, really harsh.
Yeah.
And it became a real tool. So maybe the best takeaway from this is like, no comment is a bad comment. Maybe like everything is an opening to create conversation.
Yeah, I think so. I think that like the percentage of people who actually comment, it's because they care. That's what it has. Like to comment, for me, to comment if I go to a restaurant and I'm on Yelp or whatever.
Yeah.
The food has to be really, really, really bad or really, really, really good.
You don't have
and
to
you know
say
what?
anything.
Most probably, I won't even comment, even if it's really good or really bad. I'll probably just tell my friend, and you get that word of mouth. But like you really need to touch somebody, I think, for them to invest the time to actually care enough, positive or negative, to comment.
Okay. So let's take this into communication in general. So we've taken the most extreme case of the grumpy backer. What is your communication strategy in general with your Kickstarter community?
I really learned. I think that one of the things that we really improved with Kickstarter is communication. When we first launched our first Kickstarter, we didn't even know that there was a comment section until the campaign finished. And we were like, wait a minute, how many comments?
What year was that?
I don't know. It was like 4 years ago. So it was like. Then we were like, okay, comments and people are angry. In the beginning, it's like, oh, positive. We're like, hey, how come the creator isn't responding? And we didn't know. And then we were like, okay, we gotta pay attention to this. And then the second one, we realized, wow, there's a lot of work involved in replying to literally thousands of comments.
Absolutely.
So then we didn't do it as well as we could, and we realized, wow, it's really important.
Do you do this on your own, or do you have?
No, we have. We have. And I do it. First of all, I'll say this: I do it on my own as well because I am the CEO and founder. I run. I drive. I'm at the steering wheel.
Yeah.
So it's really important for me to know and get that information. At the same time, we also have people who handle it, our support, and all of that.
Right.
But it's vital. Like it's just communication. As our communication grew, we were able to increase our support, increase customers' content and happiness, and the lifetime value of the customer became exponentially larger, and we were able to get that loyalty that is, I think, the most important thing you can get from a customer.
No, agreed. We added onto that. We added a lot more video work in the past year. So we've been doing a lot more video communication. We switched last year to doing all of our updates in just video chats, all of them. That seems to create a better communication between us, the backers, and then later on we upload it to YouTube as well. So it lives on, and it has much more resonance onwards. And all of our communication strategy in general, just because we have however many projects, 15 to 17, we try to communicate in all of our projects together. In other words, if we have an update on one project, we try to make that project pretty video happy, upload it into YouTube, make sure that people in all of our projects know what we're doing, and then we create an ecosystem within Kickstarter so that all of our thousands of backers know exactly what we're doing. And I think that that's a good tip. If you're starting to create an ecosystem in Kickstarter, make sure that all of your Kickstarter projects, if you have more than one, and you probably should, then they should all communicate one with another. And a backer of one project is much more likely to be a backer of another project, and you can bring people along from one to the other, to the other, to the other. And that goes back to our previous point of like creating like your initial first day bang. Those are all of your, like the initial backing of a new project comes from the people who backed your previous project.
Yeah.
And that's super, super important. Cool. But what about communication strategy in general? Do you guys work with, do you have a newsletter that comes out?
Yeah. Communication in general, I mean, we have social for Instagram, Facebook. We have a newsletter where we're communicating all sorts of I have to say, like the best deals when it comes to Paperwallet, except for Kickstarter and our crowdfunding, our deals we really give real value. Not only, sometimes it's deals, sometimes percentage off, sometimes it's some sort of like a giveaway, but sometimes it's about, valuable content. When you have, for example, one of our last newsletters was, we have now over 50,000 people all around the world using our micro wallet. And
cool.
We realized from the comments and from communication that a lot of people don't really get it. The packaging does a great job of explaining the best practices and how to use it and information about the artist and all of that.
Yeah.
But not everybody reads the packaging. So what we did is we sent out a newsletter, and we really made it beautiful, and we gave illustrations of how, basically the best practices of how to get the most out of your micro wallet, and we just sent it to our followers, and we saw the response to this was people started to realize what else they can do, what really other values this product had.
And
so
I think I want to end on just one last point, because you have a very special case where you integrate artist work in together with your actual product, and I think that's an interesting and brilliant communication strategy, which we do not have, which I think a lot of people would benefit in hearing on how you do that.
Yeah. Well, I mean, first of all of our products are created to be canvases for artists. That's how we look at them. When our products are not printed with the beautiful artwork of the artists we work with, they're just white Tyvek. Still, the material itself is amazing. You can still rock it when it's white, but the artists kind of give the product soul. And when we first created and founded Paperwallet, the idea was to create a wallet, to create a product that will be a marketing tool for the artists. And that's what we thought that this would be a great product for.
Is it still working that way?
Yeah, and that's what it is. I mean, today I'm meeting with an artist who became a really good friend of ours.
That's cool.
And he called me 6 months ago. He wrote me an email, hey, I want to make another collaboration with you guys. I love the wallet. And it's been like a year since we collaborated. I didn't hear from him in a long time. And then I called him just recently, 2 days ago. And the thing that he said to me is, I love the wallet. People love the wallet. It's such a great tool for me. I just basically carry them around. I sell them at my shows, or I give them away as gifts. And they're a great tool for me to get my name out there.
Is he going to be in your new project too?
Yeah, we're working with him now. That's why I'm meeting him later today, and hopefully we'll be collaborating once again.
That's cool.
Yeah,
that's cool. So that's a really great way of like tying everything together. So
Yeah.
like the artist gets quite a bit from it, the backer gets quite a bit from it, and you do as well.
Yeah, definitely.
Cool.
It has to be a win-win on all for it to be, a good business.
Amazing.
Yeah.
All right, so I think that's pretty much all the time that we have, right, Max? All right, let's wrap it up.
Thank you so much for having me. Cheers.
Thanks for coming by.
All right.